Hello, my astrology family. This is Lada from astrolada.com. This is the most important and exciting month of the year, not just personally, but for the world, because the two planets, the two probably most intense planets, Saturn and Pluto, are changing signs in March. So there will be big world important events that you'll notice around March, maybe a little bit before, a little bit after. But on a personal level, this will be a game changer, many new beginnings in your life. Old problems will disappear and new exciting territories and problems will appear. Let's see what it's going to be like. I'll speak about each of the 12 signs. You'll come back to this video for many years, at least for the next 3 years, because I'll speak about how Saturn will influence you for the next 3 years and Pluto for the next 20 years. So please save this video to favorites, because you will need it. When things start happening, this will explain to you and give you perspective, so you don't feel overwhelmed, or so you feel like, wow, I'm on time, like a deja vu. This is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. So this is an important video. And before I start, please do start with your ascendant. If you know your time of birth, start with your rising sign, also known as ascendant. If you don't know it, start with your sun sign and moon sign if you can, but the ascendant is the most important, I think, if your time of birth is correct. And then I'll follow if you're day born, the sun. Check the 3 if you want, but always for me the ascendant is it. And by the way, before we start, just to let you know, I'm doing a big webinar on Pluto in Aquarius. That will be at the end of February, the start of March. It's only $39. It will be 5 hours, and I'll walk you through how Pluto will affect you personally, because Pluto will be in Aquarius for the next 20 years, and I'll show you how, and you'll be able to see what areas Pluto will influence. Say Pluto will square your Mars, natal Mars, in 2036. What does it mean? Or Pluto will enter your second house and it will transit the second house cusp in 2025. What does it mean for you? Or Pluto will trine your Venus. What does it mean for your life, for your love life, and which year? So that will be a very personal webinar, but because I'll show you how you can calculate it and see it very easy, but at the same time very insightful for you to plan, because Pluto is the planet of the evolution of the soul. And if all the most important changes on a spiritual and material level always happen through Pluto. So let's enjoy the videos. Capricorn, rising sun or moon, March 2023. Oh boy, do I have good news for you. The first one is actually very important for you, because you are ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is moving out of Aquarius, your second house of finances, resources, and material, preoccupation with material matters, where it's been since April 2020. And Saturn is moving from there, so your focus will gradually start shifting after March the 7th for the next 3 years, from issues concerning money, issues concerning finances, resources, even dietary issues, because second house is the food we eat, or even problems with teeth sometimes, and issues with self-value and self-worth. They would be resolved, and hopefully, because it's the end of this transit, Saturn can also give you a gift, so that you feel now more financially stable, more secure within yourself and your family, that you have improved your eating habits, that you have solidified your resources, solidified and reorganized your assets in some sort. So hopefully the results will be long-term stability later on. But you can check out how Saturn in the second house has affected you by listening to Aquarius, where I speak way more in depth about how Saturn will affect them for the next 3 years. But you listen to that as if it has happened to you already. Well, it has happened to you already. But Saturn will move in a very supporting position for Capricorns, because Saturn, which is you're ruled by Saturn, will enter the third house and will be making sextile to all planets into your sun, moon, or ascendant in Capricorn for the next 2-3 years. That is a helping sextile aspect. So there will be kind of, natural, the Saturnian lessons of maturation, growth, stability, manifestation will flow very naturally for you. And a lot of the things that you start over the next 2-3 years will have a long-term stable results, whether it's with your career, if it's your sun in Capricorn, whether it's with your health, Ascendant in Capricorn, or path in life with your Ascendant in Capricorn, or whether it's with your family and personal emotional life if the moon is in Capricorn. Whatever you start will be stabilized, or whatever you're doing there will be stabilized and more secure. But the good thing is that the sextile Saturn will be doing, but Saturn will also give certain challenges in the third house. And what does Saturn wants to teach us when it transits the third house? The third house is communications. And Saturn wants to teach you to be more discriminatory. Saturn is a planet that builds walls, discriminates. It's more, let's say, even more judgmental, but the better word to say is more realistic when it comes to the people in your everyday environment that you communicate with. What kind of nonsense are you pouring into your brain? What kind of nonsense are you wasting your mental energy and distracting yourself with? You're going to become way more and more aware that you don't want to give your focus, mental focus, to, sometimes like it might be shows that you're wasting your time watching for hours, Netflix. Other times it might be mindless scrolling through TikTok or social media without any serious information or in-depth information coming in. And you'll become very aware and more like guarded about what you let in. So you might eliminate also a lot of people from your life during that time that you think they're time wasters, people that you just hang out for hours and chat and just, gossip. Such kind of things will feel superficial for you. All kind of gossip, media as well. And you kind of tend to surround yourself more with people that you can do something productive and constructive, because the third house is a social house. And so Saturn can limit your social interactions and limit them to more towards a circle of people that you work with, because Saturn is more connected to work, or circle of people that you kind of discuss important topics with, or you have some kind of mutual goal to work on, or a circle of people that you can exchange important and valuable information with, rather than just kind of like, something superficial. And by the way, this Saturn is very much welcome for everyone in your third house, because Neptune has been in your third house since 2012. And that Neptune removes all barriers. Maybe you surround yourself with people that are kind of, Neptune is wishy-washy, that can't keep up promises, that are very idealistic, but like all talk, no game, or whatever, no talk, no walk. And maybe sometimes even Neptune in the third house might have confused your environment where people are more artistic, but more artistic, or maybe more escapist, that escape reality in some sort. And Saturn comes here, and maybe even your thinking processes. The third house is thinking processes, and Neptune might have made them more foggy. Some might, if you have had brain fog, sometimes I've heard people who have Neptune in the third house, they're born with, they talk often about feeling brain fog, and or temporarily, maybe for you, if you felt in the previous years some brain fog or fuzzy thinking, inability to order and organize your thoughts, which for Capricorn is very important. They're a very organized sign. So if you find yourself kind of more foggy in your brain, Saturn comes and tries to put more order, to structure your mind, to structure your internal narrative, also to structure what you're letting into your mind. Maybe Neptune helped you for the last how many years, 12, 13, 11 years, to have more spiritual mental narrative, to surround yourself with more spiritual people as well, to have more spiritual interest. And now Saturn comes and says, now let's be a bit more practical. Maybe let's take those spiritual and more idealistic ideas that you had and ways of thinking, because Neptune really opened your ways of thinking. Neptune is a planet that opens up and embraces a lot of new thinking and people around you, different circle. But Neptune also doesn't discriminate. You can allow a lot of bullshit as well, a lot of lies, misconceptions of people that are not authentic, people you can't rely on, people that are there just for the good times, bohemian, or people with kind of hidden motives into your environment. And Saturn would like to code those. Saturn would like you to really examine and be more deliberate about who is in your environment, what do you let into your mind, what kind of people you surround yourself with, so you make them more practical, people that you're more invested personally with, and more and maybe long term, maybe you'll go back to some friends from the past that you haven't been in touch with, that you reconnect with. But ultimately, Saturn wants to also help you, all those maybe new spiritual ideas that you've gained, and to structure it and to manifest it into something more practical. And Saturn can also ask you to learn new skills, and or if you have already acquired skills, to practically apply them, to organize them. The third house is the house of self-made wealth through your own skills and knowledge, for something that you are not born talented with, you are not born into money, but you using, say, you've learned to do graphic design. So now Saturn comes here and says, I want to use this skill, and I'm going to really want to get invested in the skill to create my own business, because third house rules to have your own business, for example, or to for example, to master and improve certain skills. So a lot of you might embark on a path and might feel called to brush up, to improve, to master, to really take to another level certain skills. So you can start courses, you can start studying a lot more intensely, learning a lot more. You can start, some of you, to really be serious about, for example, I learned to speak English, and I really, when Saturn entered my third house years ago, when I was 15 or something like that, and I mastered it. It was hard work. Nothing with Saturn is easy. Whatever you're going to master, whether it's to play the piano, whether it's to drive a car, whether it's to run a business, whether it's to marketing, whether it's to sales you're trying to learn, to build something, whatever, this is all skills. It takes time. Give yourself a couple of years to master it. 2.5 years, the duration of Saturn in the second house. And you're going to have very masterful results. But I remember also when Saturn transited my third house years ago, and I have a lot of planets there as well, it's not going to be so dramatic for you. Everyone, like all my classmates, so that's why third house is workmates, classmates, people that you meet in everyday life. We were a group of close friends, 6, and they all turned their back on me. Suddenly my whole group stopped talking to me. They kind of, because I stopped dating someone and he set them against me, and I was all alone. Like, I was so hurt by those in my environment. So a possibility for something like that can happen. But then I discovered new friends, and friends that long-lasting friends, that my best friend, one of my best friends to life, and I turned back to be close to some of my friends that I've neglected before that. And the high school drama. It doesn't have to be high school, though. It can be in life. So Saturn can make you return to old friends, or really realize that some people might reject you. Maybe I had a fault as well for being rejected, but I made new friends that were kind of more mature, and they were more lasting. So there'll be a culling and removing of people from your life, but you stick with the more loyal ones, the more serious ones as well. And I remember I felt I didn't want to do superficial conversations. I was reading very serious things and studying I wanted to sound so intellectual. Well, I guess it really taught me to organize my thought patterns and so on. So, and eventually, you might feel initially during Saturn transits that, you're not being heard in the group. We're trying to say something at your workplace or whatever. You might feel like you're interrupted, or you're not being heard or understood, and it can make you feel a little bit like trying to withdraw and not say the things you want, or make you feel like, or I'm stupid. So, you know, don't let this fool you. I remember this intense feeling of feeling, I remember like hanging out with this new group of people, and Saturn was in my third house, and I just felt so, I felt like everything I said sounded stupid, and I was judging myself. And usually when you think that, you end up sounding stupid at the end. But I worked through this process for a couple of years, and at the end, some people say they find their voice. Like one of the astrologists, Sveiki, asked her, how did Saturn in your third house feel? And she said, I felt I found my voice. I finally overcame my fear of doing videos and live videos and so on. But first, you're grabbed by this fear. This is how a transit works. First, Saturn intensifies this fear of communicating, of your voice being heard, of saying your opinion. Maybe you might feel like you're kind of reprimanded, or that you're judged for what you say, or you might judge yourself, or you might be fearful that, say, you want to write a book or make a video or start a business. These are all third house activities that you're using your skills or your voice, or write something, write an article, and you're fearful. People will judge me. What are they gonna say? Oh my God. And you're like, oh, really, really freaking out. But Saturn pushes you. Outside circumstances will push you to do it no matter what. And you start putting yourself there daily, a little bit. And then by the end of this process, when Saturn leaves your third house, you've mastered it. It's become part of you. It's no longer a challenge. It's no longer a fear for you. But Saturn works by everyday consistent efforts, or, you know, every week or something like that, where you don't give up, and repeated efforts. You might suck the first 10 times. You might suck at making videos. You might be awful at making a report and presenting it to others initially. You might be pretty crap at playing tennis, or pretty crap initially at programming, or whatever you're trying to learn. Or if you already have an acquired skill, putting it out there for others, you know, and to use it usefully to help others. You might feel fearful, but Saturn pushes you to break through that fear. So yeah, that's how I see a lot of Capricorns will go through. Plus, the ancient Vedic texts say that when Saturn moves in the third sign from your moon sign, if it's in Capricorn, from your sun or ascendant as well, this is when things start manifesting for you. Till then, the period, the 7-year period when Saturn is in the sign before your sign, in your sign, and in the sign after, Vedic astrology considered it like sadi 7 years of kind of germination. But you'll finally start seeing the results when Saturn enters your third house, and this kind of the plant is poking out of the, and you're seeing already, like you've been building the foundations of the house till now, and finally you can start seeing the rest of the house come up when Saturn enters into the third house. So it is manifesting time. Plus, ancient Vedic astrology says when Saturn is in the third sign from your sign, they speak about the moon usually, or the ascendant, but you can add the sun as well. This is when your wishes start becoming true. Usually life gives us not what we want, but what we need. Till especially the last 7 years, you were given what you need, not what you want so much. But the third house is the house of Kama, house of desire. And Saturn there helps us, the ancients said, when it goes there, helps us fulfill our personal desires, even if they're selfish. So it's going to feel gratifying for you. It's like God is giving me what I want, not just what I need, type of energy. Okay, I have to warn you, sometimes people have problems with communication when Saturn is in the third house, with transportation, with they have to be prepared to try something else. Cars might break down more often, or sometimes it might be that your communication devices might break down. So you have to be more cautious about the information, where you're storing it, about your credit cards, personal information of any sort, because there can be more damage done to it when Saturn is in the third house. So some kind of breaking into your website, into your personal details. So just be more, Saturn is about building security. So learn to be more secure with your personal information, with your, maybe get the insurance on your phone and your laptop, get an insurance on your car, because Saturn likes, it will reward you if you insure those things, if you protect them. But there's a lot more things Saturn in the third house can do, but I speak way more in depth in my 2023 video for Capricorn, if you're interested to see it. And it's only $21, so a lot more information, 2.5 hours I speak about. Then the other big important event is that Pluto is leaving your sign. It's been in Capricorn since 2008, and almost all Capricorns have experienced at some point for about a couple of years or longer if you have more planets in Capricorn, the life-changing energy of Pluto. Congratulations, Capricorn, you're graduating. the ones that are on the finishing line, Pluto is entering on the 23rd of March, Aquarius, and leaves you alone. So the evolutionary lessons of Pluto that were very expedited with of Capricorns that were very expedited are slowing down. So you'll be left at peace for a while. You went through a lot, Capricorns, but it comes back to the later degrees. After that, in June till the end of the year, so from June till the end of the year, Pluto comes back in Capricorn. For those Capricorns that are born from 25, 26 degrees to 26 degrees to 30 degrees, they would feel it again till the end of the year. And then in 2024, it moves full force into your second house. Maybe there was one last time it went back at the very last degree, but Pluto will stay into your second house for 20 years, which is second house, you know, that's a completely new set of soul growth lessons, because Pluto is the planet of evolution of the soul. The most important lessons we learn from Pluto, and all the other transits and influences and events that happen in your life filter through and support the evolutionary goal of Pluto. So for the past, let's say 14 years, Pluto has been in your sign. Some of the biggest transformations and changes have happened. If you want to see what exactly the lessons of Pluto in your sign were, listen to the next sign, Pluto in Aquarius, because I speak there about what it is to have Pluto transiting through your sun, moon, or ascendant sign. And you look back in the last 14 years, at some point at least during that time, you really recognize yourself in that, and you can see how your soul has grown. So listen to the next sign to hear how you did. But that was a big evolution, big transformation of your sign. You're not the same after Pluto in your sign. It's leaving you. So the sense of dread and imminent doom and gloom impending, which Pluto can often bring, because there is a sense of the ego that it's gonna die soon. Not the actual human being, but there is a sense, Pluto is about death and rebirth of the ego, and more like the clearing of the astral body and so on, and the pranic body that it's been doing. But Pluto enters your second house. So I'm not going to speak about what Pluto did till now. I will speak what it's going to do for the next 20 years. Listen to Aquarius if you want to hear what Pluto did till now, because sometimes it's very hard to actually realize why you went through those big crises and big cataclysms. What was the purpose of them? I explain in the next sign, because the purpose is the purification of the etheric body and what it means. But Pluto in the second house says that Capricorns for the next 20 years will really transform their values. The second house is what you consider beautiful, what you consider tasty. Some Capricorns might realize that their food buds, their food taste buds, the taste buds are transformed. Some of you might start the transformation immediately, and others, especially the later born Capricorns, might have to wait a few years till they feel the full force of these transformations of the second house. It depends. I will give those for every degree the exact year that Pluto will influence them in my Pluto in Aquarius webinar, which I'm doing at the end of February or start of March. And you can watch just the recording if you don't want to do it live. You can own it for life as well. But there I'll give you the exact degrees, so you know when to expect those most important transformations exactly. But Pluto in the second house at some time, for some of you already from the beginning, will transform how you eat, for example. Maybe you loved sugar and carbs till now, and Pluto comes there, and Pluto gives a tremendous willpower and focus, and you can transform yourself and stop suddenly eating sugar or stop eating meat. Or Pluto wants to eliminate everything toxic. The second house is what do you put in your body, and can eliminate anything toxic from there as well. You can also become like a force of transformation for society by teaching about food, one of the things that second house rules, by teaching about health routines, like kind of what to put in your body and so on. On another level, second house is money, finances, and resources. Some of you this is the make or break millionaire to pauper or pauper to millionaire combination. If it's part of your karma, when Pluto enters your second house, this is when you can truly become millionaires, because Pluto is big money. Second house is your own resources. I'm not saying all Capricorns will become millionaires now, for sure, absolutely. Ask Sagittarians who just had Pluto in their second house. But it can. Definitely Pluto is extremes of wealth or poverty. So you can find yourself like you go really high or you can go down. And what it depends whether you go up or down is how you use power. Do you use power for selfish reasons? Do you use the power of knowledge or skills or whatever it is, or physical power to control others? Or do you use it to empower others? If you use it to empower others, many times Pluto can make you very rich when it transits the second house. But there might be some power struggles, because Pluto is resources that come to you from others as well, and hidden resources, and second house is you. So there can be some possibility for power struggles in regards to resources between you and others. But I think that ultimately a lot of Capricorns can play a very important role in transforming the financial system of the world for the next 20 years, transforming how we make money. And you'll be the ones that bring more revolutionary means to make money and explore ways of and explore what will be valuable. And you'll be very attuned for the next 20 years what is valuable in this changing world and economy in the age of Aquarius, what truly brings value, what truly gives a material essence. You'll be the one who can recognize those investments, what to invest in, what substances or products will be valuable, truly valuable, what will make money. You see how the economy is changing in these technocratic societies, and you'll be the one who can suss out the hidden resources. You'll be the one that can, so if you go in any kind of field or career that deals with resources, that deals with assets, that deals with evaluating something, that deals with financial system, that deals with food, that deals with sources of income, of food and such kind of stuff, or valuables like art, and you can transform the world in the next 20 years through anything second house, and you can empower yourself through valuables, through arts, through collections, what is valuable in collections, through well, hopefully not extreme hoarding, sometimes the obsessive compulsive hoarding. But there might be ups and downs financially, definitely, especially if Pluto is making hard aspect from your second house. You'll find out in my webinar if Pluto is making hard aspects to any planets in your horoscope. And then there can be some crisis where you really have to change how you make money, where the money is coming from you. But you come out after each such, influence, because Pluto is there for 20 years. It's not going to be constant, but maybe there's some kind of crisis and you really have to change where you get your resources from, how you value yourself, where money is coming to you from you, coming for you. And after each such period, which might last around a year of change, you find yourself more and more stable and more being able to take care of yourself, and feeling like you know how to, you become empowered, that you can be self-sustaining, that you can take care of yourself, and that you have the resources. The second house is your resources. So Pluto wants to empower you with this 20-year period to believe that you're your own resource. You have the resources to survive in this world, and you can create them out of not thin air, but you can create them yourself. with your skills, with your intelligence, with whatever. So a lot of people will notice that they're starting to change their attitude to money. They're starting to change their attitude, not only change, like totally will change to what they consider attractive, beautiful, and valuable, what they consider tasty, even what they consider attractive in another person, what they consider valuable as possessions. Maybe not Rolex anymore. Maybe you consider valuable something that's not just diamonds or whatever, but something that can bring some transformation to society or some value to society. And you know, Capricorns naturally have Aquarius in the second house. Aquarius is society, and they know what is valuable for society, the big trends of what's valuable. And Pluto will make you even more perspicacious there to use this talent. A lot of other things will happen on spiritual and material level. Your self-worth will be transformed on the spiritual level. How you value yourself will be totally transformed. Which year exactly it happens again, it very much depends on the second house cusp where it is for you, or the exact degree of your ascendant, sun, or moon. But something will shift so powerfully in how you perceive yourself. And second house is the face as well. Some people might do some big transformations of their faces. You know, it is possible. Sometimes surgeries as well. It's the teeth. Might do something with the teeth as well. But that's like these are details. The main thing is what you consider valuable, and as a result, how you appreciate yourself, and as a result, how others appreciate you, and how others, what your value is and what your wealth is will change in a big way. Okay, I speak more about the practical sides of Pluto in the second house and manifestations in my 2023 video, which you can order from the link below for Capricorn, which is 3 hours, 2.5 hours. Then specifically for this month, I want to tell you that there is big focus on this third house. There will be increased communications, back and forth traveling, short trips of some sort, focus on interacting with others, skill set development. And the other big event specifically in March is that Jupiter and Venus will join in your fourth house. So the end of March, you can feel it already, and the first 20 days of, the end of February, you can feel it already, in the first 20 days of March. Something great can happen, or very positive developments in your personal life, especially with family, with home, with place of living. They can be, for example, possibility to move in a place that feels great, or sell or buy a property that you've been trying for now, or find the best property for yourself. Or there can be something good happening with your family, like a great trip or journey that you enjoy, then happens, good times with them, some kind of healing of past trauma, some kind of forgiveness, or just good times with this extended family, or with people that you consider close to you, or just improved emotional well-being and happiness, because the fourth house is the emotional well-being, happiness, and so forth. But anything that has to do with home, family, property, it's great time for you to do it now. At the end of February, the first 20 days of March, it will have very good results. And last but not least, Mars is leaving at the end of the month your sixth house. So if you've been having some health inflammations, health problems, or stresses, they will disappear once Mars leaves your sixth house, because it's been there for 6 months, 7 almost. So if there were some issues there, they're gone. But also, if you've been working hard to change your health routines, because Mars was retrograde, maybe you rethought how to change something in your health habits, eating, whatever, health routines. Then Mars leaving your sixth house can indicate that you're seeing the results now, and in regards to this changes with your health routine, you're starting to see the positive results. Plus, if you had some stresses at work, sixth house is one of the work houses, so some changes that you had to be done at the work environment, maybe some blockages at work or some challenges, they all also finish when Saturn when Mars, sorry, leaves your 6th house, no more stresses there. And if you've been working hard on some project, you complete it, you see the end results of it. So thank you so much, Capricorn. Fascinating, fascinating what's to come, because so many things are changing. Saturn, Pluto, and Mars is changing signs. So you'll see a lot of the old problems disappearing and a new set of interesting life themes appearing.